Edge Igniter. Picture a company. A big one. Customer service across 2 floors of an office tower. Maintenance crews spread across 3 states. And in the same quarter, the same AI platform rolls out to everyone. Downstairs, in customer service, the new system starts answering the routine tickets. Password resets, delivery queries, refund requests, handled end-to-end, no human in the loop. The veterans keep their jobs. They handle the escalations, the angry ones, the weird ones. But something quieter happens, something nobody announces in a town hall. The graduate intake shrinks. The entry-level roles, the first rung on the ladder, just stop being advertised. Nobody was fired. The door simply narrowed until it was barely a door at all. 3 states away, a field technician gets the same company's AI on her tablet. 20 years of fault histories, live sensor feeds, a diagnostic assistant that drafts the paperwork she used to do in the truck at 7 p.m. She's not replaced. She's covering more sites, catching failures before they happen, and mentoring 2 apprentices the company hired because, suddenly, a first-year tech with this tool is worth hiring. Same company. Same rollout. Same technology. 2 completely different futures. And here's the part that should stop you mid-commute. The difference between those 2 futures was not the model. It was a design choice. Someone decided the software would replace one job and multiply the other. And mostly, they didn't even know they were deciding. Today, how to tell which side of that line you're standing on. And how to move. Welcome back to Edge Igniter. I'm Alex Rivers, rested, allegedly, and back with the season I've been itching to make since about episode 3 of the last one. Season 1 was about surviving the wave, the skills that keep an individual valuable when the machines learn fast. If you're new here, start with the Edge Playbook special. It compresses all of Season 1 into a single episode, and it spares everyone else the recap. Season 2 is about what comes after survival. How people, leaders, and whole organizations stop coping with AI and start building with it. Season 1 gave you the edge. Season 2 shows you where to swing it. Long-time listeners know I keep 3 beliefs taped above my desk, and this season runs on all of them. 1. Technology matters. Pretending otherwise is a career strategy for the past. 2. Human judgment compounds. It's the only asset that appreciates with every decision you feed it. 3. Organizations win when they multiply people, not just efficiency. This season is those 3 beliefs, stress-tested. And if you're not an executive, still your show. Every episode ends with 2 actions, one for leaders, one an individual contributor can do this week. No budget, no permission required. Same rules as always, research-backed, stress-tested, 1 action to take away, and full transparency about how we use AI to make this show. Stay for the disclosure today. Our verification loop caught something, and it's a number you heard us cite last season. Let's get into the evidence. First, the distinction that runs through this whole season, so let's nail it down. Automation replaces the task. The AI does the work end-to-end, the human hands it over and walks away. Augmentation multiplies the person. The AI extends what one human can do, more scope, more speed, more quality, but the human stays in the work, owning the output. That sounds like a slogan. It isn't. It's measurable, and it shows up in 3 different datasets that have nothing to do with each other. Dataset 1. Payroll. My favorite kind of evidence, because payroll doesn't have opinions. Late 2025, a Stanford study called Canaries in the Coal Mine went straight to the records of America's largest payroll provider. Not surveys. Not vibes. Actual employment records. Millions of workers, month by month. The headline: Since generative AI showed up, employment for early career workers in the most AI-exposed occupations has fallen around 16% relative to comparable workers. Experienced workers in those same occupations? Stable. In many cases growing. And the adjustment shows up in headcount, not pay packets. Nobody is cutting salaries. They're quietly not hiring juniors. But the finding that matters most for today is buried a little deeper. The declines are not spread evenly across AI-exposed work. They are concentrated in occupations where AI is used to automate, to do the whole task. In occupations where the data shows AI being used to augment, to assist a human who stays in the loop, entry-level employment held steady or grew. One more nuance, because we don't do doom here. Overall employment stayed broadly stable. This isn't mass unemployment. It's a specific, early effect hitting one group first. That's what a canary is for. It tells you what's coming if nothing changes. Read that again, though. The fork between our customer service rep and our field technician isn't a story. It's visible in payroll data. Dataset 2. Usage. Anthropic, the company behind the AI assistant Claude, analyzed millions of anonymized conversations to see how people actually use AI. When individuals drive, augmentation leads, a bit over half of conversations, though the balance has swung both ways as the models improved. When businesses wire AI straight into their processes, roughly 3/4 automation. Yes, I'm aware, that's an AI company's data about AI, on a podcast partly made with AI. The pattern stands, same technology, and it forks the moment it hits a deployment decision. Dataset 3. What happens when you deliberately pick augmentation? This one is a genuine experiment, run inside a real company and published in one of the top economics journals. Hold that thought, it comes back at the disclosure. More than 5,000 customer support agents got an AI assistant, rolled out in stages, which is economist for we can actually measure cause. The AI didn't take the calls. It whispered, suggested responses, surfaced fixes, drafted replies the human could accept, adjust, or reject. Average productivity, up 15%. But the distribution is the story. The newest agents improved around 30%, and 2 months of tenure with the AI performed like 6+ months without it. The tool took the know-how of the best agents and quietly served it to the newest. The experience curve, compressed. Judgment compounding, on fast forward. The veterans barely moved. And beyond the numbers, customers were politer, escalations dropped, new agents stuck around longer. Augmentation didn't just move a metric. It made the job more survivable, which, if you've ever worked a support queue, is not a small thing. So assemble the 3. Payroll data says, where AI automates, the entry-level door narrows. Where it augments, it doesn't. Usage data says, both patterns are happening right now, at scale, and the mix is a live choice. And the field experiment says, when you choose augmentation, the biggest winners are precisely the junior workers the automation pattern erases. Automation replaces the task. Augmentation multiplies the person. And the fork between them is showing up in the data years before it shows up in anyone's strategy deck. If you've listened to this show for any length of time, you already know where I stand. I think organizations that use AI purely to reduce headcount are solving this quarter's problem by creating the next decade's talent shortage. Now, the data can't prove a decade ahead. That one's a belief, and I'll always tell you which is which. But it's a belief with 3 datasets leaning its way. You know the rules here. We don't get to fall in love with a tidy story, least of all one this quotable. 3 objections. Steelmanned. I went looking for the strongest versions I could find. Here's what survived contact. Objection 1. It's not a choice, it's economics. If a task can be done without a human, competition will eventually force every firm to do it without a human. Calling it a design choice is sentimental. Partly right. About tasks. If a task is genuinely rote, it will get automated, and most of those should be. But roles are bundles of tasks, and that's where the choice lives. The Canary's data shows experienced workers thriving in the very occupations shedding juniors. Same occupation, different task bundle. Firms still need judgment, context, accountability, and relationships. The design choice is whether roles pair those human tasks with the machine, or get stripped down to what the machine can't yet reach. The second option is a slow-motion resignation letter written by your employer. Objection 2. Augmentation is just automation with a lag. Today's augmented task is tomorrow's automated one, so the whole framework has a shelf life. This one deserves respect. The usage numbers really do swing. Automation surged as the models improved, then augmentation pulled back ahead. The line moves. But if the line moves, a role designed around movement stays valuable, and a role that assumes it's fixed does not. That's why the playbook in a minute is a map you redraw quarterly, not a certificate you frame. And since we're here, I'll show you my cards. Betting against human judgment has been a losing trade through 2 centuries of technology panics, and I don't think this one breaks the streak. That's a belief, not a finding. I hold it the way this show holds everything. Ready to update. Not ready to fold. Objection 3. Correlation isn't causation. Maybe growing firms happen to augment and hire, while shrinking firms automate and cut. The AI isn't driving anything, it's along for the ride. Fair, and the Stanford team saw this one coming, which is why they checked inside individual companies. The entry-level decline shows up within the same firms, not just between winners and losers. Payroll data alone can't fully close that door, and honest podcasters say so. But paired with the support agent experiment actively raising the value of juniors, the picture holds. Verdict: the claim survives with one asterisk. It's a design choice at the margin, made under real cost pressure, on a line that moves. Which is not a weaker claim. It's a more useful one, because choices at the margin are exactly the ones you can influence. And I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it until it stops being true, the biggest competitive advantage of the next decade won't be AI. It'll be organizations that know where to put humans and where to put machines. The margin is where that knowledge lives. So how do you tell which side of the line a role sits on, yours, or one you manage? 3 questions. Ask them of any task. Question 1. Who owns the output? If the AI's work goes straight to the customer, the ledger, the decision, no human adding context or taking accountability, that task is on the automation side. If a human receives it, shapes it, signs it, that's augmentation. Watch the workflow, not the marketing. Question 2. Does the tool make a junior more valuable or unnecessary? This is the sharpest test we know. It's the exact signature separating our 2 studies. With this tool, does a new hire reach competence faster, or is the new hire simply no longer needed? If your organization's answer is we don't hire for that anymore, you've located an automation zone, and everyone still in it should plan accordingly. Question 3. Where does the machine's knowledge come from, and is anyone still growing it? Remember why the support agent AI worked. Veteran knowledge, served to novices. Automation that erases junior roles also erases the path that produced the veterans. If nobody junior is doing the work, ask who'll have the judgment in 10 years. A role that feeds the knowledge loop is safer than one that merely consumes it. Then make your map. Write the role as roughly 10 tasks, not the position description, the actual Tuesday afternoon reality. I did mine before writing this episode. 10 tasks, including 2 I'd been protecting out of pure sentiment. They're automated now. I'm told I'll survive. Mark each one: automate, augment, or human. Automate the pure production, the assembly, the reformatting, the first drafts of the routine. Augment the analysis, the diagnosis, the writing that carries your name. And circle the tasks that are human full stop, where context, relationships, and accountability live, because those are load-bearing. That's your redesign map. And if your map says you're standing in an automation zone, 3 moves, in order of power. First, attach yourself to the judgment step. Every automated pipeline still needs someone who reviews, samples, and signs off, and that someone accumulates exactly the expertise the pipeline can't. Second, get close to the rollout itself. The people who design how a tool enters a workflow are the last people it displaces. Third, make your context visible, the history in your head, the reasons behind the workarounds. Context is the raw material of augmentation. People who hoard it get automated around. People who feed it into the system become the reason the system works. Because here's the belief underneath this whole playbook. Multiply people, not just efficiency. If a tool makes 10 people cheaper, that's procurement. If it makes 10 people better, that's strategy. You've seen this pattern everywhere once you know to look. Radiologists using AI triage to read more scans, versus imaging mills that just cut readers. Law firms where AI drafts and juniors interrogate versus firms that stopped hiring juniors. Maintenance crews whose predictive tools made fitters more valuable instead of fewer. The interpreter who became a cultural broker. Same technology. Design choices. If you're an individual contributor, write your role as 10 tasks this week, and mark each automate, augment or human. 20 minutes. Brutal honesty. That's your redesign map, and take it to your manager before someone else takes theirs. In a reorganization, the person holding the map draws the lines. If you're a leader, run the same exercise for one team, before the next tool purchase, not after. If you can't say which tasks a tool will automate and which it will augment, you're not buying a strategy. You're buying a subscription. How this episode was made. AI helped verify the research, pressure test the arguments, and draft artwork. A human wrote the script you're hearing, chose the examples, and owns every claim. The cold open is a composite, built to match the patterns in the payroll data, not a single real company. And the verification loop earned its keep this week. Last season we cited a finding that AI raised novice productivity 34%. That figure came from an early version of the support agent study. When we rechecked at scripting, the final peer-reviewed version had revised it. 15% average, 30% for novices. Still a big number, just not the one we'd been carrying. I'd love to tell you I enjoyed being corrected. I did not. I do it anyway, because that's the entire point of the loop. And notice, last season the canary's figure was revised upward, this one moved down. Reality does not care which direction suits your narrative. If you quote research, quote the version that survived review, and re-verify at time of use. Your companion for this episode, 10 jobs being reinvented by AI, this episode's fork, traced through 10 real occupations. It's in the Edge brief, link in the notes. Next episode, the function where Ari's promise and Ari's confident wrongness collide hardest. Finance. A forecast that was precise, polished and completely wrong, and what the best CFOs are doing about it. Technology matters. Judgment compounds. Multiply people, not just efficiency. 6 episodes, 1 worldview, hold me to it. The edge is still yours. Now you know where to swing it. I'm Alex Rivers. This is Edge Igniter.